like I said, we look at this class system of, nigga, black people, African American, in this black class system. This black American class system. So when the niggas at the bottom, the nigger, negro is just, again, it's a classification. It doesn't even necessarily have to do with color. Now that's the big macro level, but it's also on the micro level. That's the American game, man. This is money and collective action in America is collective economic action. So, and that don't have to look like it don't have to be like some Garvey movement. It don't have to be a political movement. It could just be. I think there's power in just like one of my goals is just to be able to hire people. If you can hire people, it's like they're already working, or contract people, whatever it is. If you can pull people to collaborate and you can compensate them economically, you're already pulling people together towards a shared goal. You know what I'm saying? Whether they bought into it on an ideological level, they're still bought into it. If it's no more than saying, "This is my livelihood," right? It's like, for instance, most of the people who work for Microsoft, when Bill Gates was the CEO, most of the people, the vast majority of the people who assembling the computers and doing X, Y, and Z, never will in any lifetime align with Bill Gates ideologically. Mm-hmm. But if they don't want nothing to happen to Bill Gates, nothing negative to happen, they don't want nothing negative to happen to Microsoft. So they're gonna, because it's in their interest to make sure that this company is strong, make sure this corporation survives, and make sure they do their work, because they got to worry about their livelihood. So I think, and that's at the root of why protest isn't effective with certain people. You can't get people, like, protest was the most effective when you had the common people protesting. The people at the very bottom protesting. That's not who we're seeing protesting anymore. Like I said, we look at this class system of, nigga, black people, African American, in this black class system. This black American class system. So when the niggas at the bottom, the nigger, negro is just, again, it's a classification. It doesn't even necessarily have to do with color. The nigga in the American system is the untouchables, right? Because like I said, they look at a lot of different people as niggas, right? But there's we epitomize it. We the original. But it's like they treated the Irish a certain way too, right? They treated the Irish a certain way. They treated the Jews a certain way. They treated the Slavs a certain way. So it's not necessarily it's more about class, right? And Frantz Fanon, the author of Wretched of the Earth, he was a notable black intellectual. He was more on the Marxist slant, and he theorized about like that whole notion of black being more of a ideological construct, and it is in a lot of ways because it's all tied up in a word. We just happen to fit the description more than anybody, right? So nigga is, we take the racial connotation out of what I'm saying about nigga, right? Nigga is a socio-economic construct. We're gonna take race and the social aspect out of it. That's hard to do because all of it is inextricably linked. But let's just look at it as a class system. We'll just say niggas is at the bottom economically, educationally, at the bottom of the bottom. Because at the top of this black construct is the African Americans. And I put the Afro Americans or African Americans, that emphasis on the American side of things, because these are the people who were seen and accepted. They got that American label, or at least they feel like, oh, I'm an American, I'm a part. This something about this American construct is working better for me than other black people or niggas, right? And what represents that ideological construct in America more than anything? Again, you have. Well, let me just go. You had Garvey, who was on some back to Africa stuff. So Garvey could probably identify mostly with the bottom class. Of people say, hey, we ostracized by this system. You know, this isn't working for us. So he came with a solution. Let's go back to Africa. Not saying that all niggas identify with that or even agree with that. That was the contrary in America, actually. But he did have a movement. So then you had black in the middle. You had a Booker T. Washington, founder of Tuskegee University. He wasn't on no back to Africa stuff. He was like, America's my home. I don't know no other home. But I know that their shit over there, meaning white people shit, ain't my shit. And I want my own shit right here. So I'm gonna do for my own right here. So I ain't going that extreme. And then you had people who was more the African American side, people like Du Bois, right? Du Bois being more along the ideology of what King was, of like integration and you know, making it within America as an American. And the irony of this whole thing is, and these men was, you know, adjacent to each other in terms of their life on Earth at the same time. They was contemporaries. They knew of each other and knew each other. They actually, you know, challenged each other, Du Bois and Booker T, I think. Mm-hmm. But the irony of it, Booker T, okay, Du Bois, the more American, Afro-American, ended up dying in Africa, West Africa. You know, he was happy, at least according to reports of the last days of his life. He died, you know, in Africa. Garvey died poor in London, Europe, on a bench. And you can guess where Booker T died. In America, yeah, in Alabama. So